and welcome to Tails Adventure on the Sega Game Gear. I am one Welsh sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit of a different spin-off game starring everyone's two-tailed fox. And it's a Metroid-Vania, folks. It's a game involving exploration. It's a game involving going from point A to point B, backtracking and looking throughout the environments for gadgets and power-ups to help us on our way. And basically, this takes place before Sonic and Tails actually met up, and Tails is relaxing on the Kukku Island, which is the area where we're in right now. And basically, the Grand Kukku, or Battle Kukku Army, whatever they're called, is attacking in search of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which are currently residing on this island. Why are all 7 on this one island? You got me! I have no idea why all 7 emeralds are on this particular island. But basically, they're damaging the island, they're burning shit up, and they're trying to steal the emeralds for their own dastardly deeds. And us being Tails, being the only resident on this island at the minute, because it is lost in the middle of the South Seas, apparently. We are the only ones who can really stop the great Battle Kukku Army. So, yeah, it's down to us. It's time for Tails to have his adventure on. And I know the title screen says Tails Adventures, but all the game box art and everything says Tails Adventure. So, I'm calling it Tails Adventure. But to start things off, this is Tails' house. Here you can go to equip items and what have you. And as you can tell, we only have one item on our person at the minute, which is the bomb, which is our main source of attacking throughout the course of the game. We're going to be making use of the bomb. We're going to love it. Or at least complain about it every now and then if it misses, but we're going to be using it for the most part anyway. And yeah, we just run forward, we run backwards, we can do our flight ability as always, which is activated either by pressing the jump button twice or pressing up and jump. And we do have the bomb that we can chuck at all these mooks, all these enemies, and explode them as much as possible. And for the most part, it's a traditional Metroid-Vania. It's a pretty average paced game. It's not the fastest game in the world, but it's not the slowest. You know, it's no Super Metroid if you want to get into that, because Super Metroid's a really fast paced Metroidvania. No, it's a pretty relaxing game. It's a pretty chilled out session where you need to go from point A to point B, C, D, E, F, G and look for everything, you know. But yeah, instead of the usual health system as well in Sonic the Hedgehog, we do have rings, but they fill up a health meter at the top left of the screen. As you can tell, there's a ring box with the number 10 on it. That's how much health we got. As we get further and further into the game, we'll be collecting collectibles that will increase our health to the grand maximum of 99. Why 99? Well, we're gonna get hit a lot by enemies in this one, folks. The enemies are very aggressive. They tend to attack you all the time. You need to get used to these mooks, and for the most part, you're just going from point whatever to explore. That's all this game is about. This game's about exploring. It's about blowing up and stopping the Grand Kukku Army. And of course, you need to pay attention to the bomb that you throw as well, because it's you'd sort of throw it in an arc. So you need to try and work with that arc in order to chuck it at enemies and whatnot, which I kind of like because it adds a little bit of a strategy element. What can I say? Of course, I have stated before, I'm not the biggest fan of this game, and I should get into why. Also, if you fly in certain areas, there's wind. It'll stop you from flying, so you need to be careful of that. Wind's your biggest enemy in this game. Without a doubt, wind is your biggest enemy. But if you look below us there's the first collectible that we won't be picking up for a long while. But yeah, getting back into why I'm not the biggest fan of this game in the world, it's purely because of the game genre it is. I love my platformers and I love collecting things, but for some reason, Metroidvanias I hate. I'm not a big fan of Metroidvania titles. I find myself getting lost all the time, and I do believe it's purely because I don't think exploration works very well in 2D. I never thought this. I've always got lost in games. I've always had issues. But anyway, going up here, we have the first Chaos Emerald, the red Chaos Emerald, which, as you can tell, increases our life bar by 10 rings, and we have more flight as well. We can fly for a longer period of time with it. So there's that. But yeah, Metroidvanias are just never my cup of tea. I can't get into them. I've tried getting into Metroid 1,000,001 times, and while the mechanics, I love the mechanics of Metroid, get lost all the time, and I'm not a big fan of it. It's not my style of gameplay I'm usually accustomed to. But that said, Tales Adventure isn't a particularly complex Metroidvania. It's a very easy one in that regard. It's the levels are all very compact. It's very easy to find your way around, so you should never really have too much trouble finding everything. However, there are a couple of cryptic areas where you may have a bit of issues fighting mooks and finding where to go. So, you know, there's going to be cryptic areas and whatnot. It is a Metroidvania after all. But there's nothing stupidly thinged. And now's the first boss, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep chucking bombs at it, and eventually it'll go down. And he'll shoot these spreading flames at you and whatnot. But if you fly, you can easily go over the flames. And of course, we also got access to a brand new item, the most useful item in the game, by the way, the robot Mecha Tails thing, where you can basically place the Mecha Tails down and you can make him fly and collect collectibles and whatnot. Basically, Mecha Tails is a good way to collect things because you can go places Tails cannot, small crevices, and we're going to be making use of him throughout the entire game. And while a lot of the collectibles in this game you can skip, you don't need to pick up everything in this game. A lot of the things you can pick up will either help you a great deal, or it's going to be useless things like this bloody hammer that I'm never going to use. I mean, look at this thing. It's not that good. It exists. But Mecha Tails is one of those necessary powers that you do need to pick up. You do need to collect it. So be sure to do that. But yeah, being a Metroidvania, you don't need to collect everything to play through the game. You just need to collect enough for the game to enough for you to be able to make progress, basically. And I'll be showing off every collectible in the game. I will be collecting everything there is. So if you ever have issues figuring out where to go to pick up a certain power or pick up a certain collectible, you can always go to my playthrough. You could just watch this, and this will show you where everything is going to be. So do not fret, folks. I am picking everything up. It's all pre-recorded in my backlog, so even if I miss something in the videos, I do go back in a later part to pick it up again. So do not fret. I will be grabbing everything. But anyway, this is the second area of the game. Basically, you just go underground, dodge the lava, and watch out in this area because if you notice, there's tiny little lines of fire in these platforms. If you look at those tiny little lines, tiny fireballs will pop up from the ground, and they tend to blindside you a lot, so just be careful of that. Fortunately, the game expects you to get hit a lot because obviously you've got quite a big health bar. You got loads of rings and health to keep yourself alive. So the game knows that you're going to get hit a lot, which I'm thankful for, you know. But it's not that hard a game. It's actually a fairly simple game to play through, just due to how much health it gives you and how much you can manipulate flying and what have you. But, you know, it's someone's first playthrough, they could have a bit of issue. Anyway, this is the Mecha Tails I showed you or talked about earlier on. You just jump into tiny crevices with him, you can fly with him, and you can use him to pick up power-ups from miles away. And if you press the action button as well after you've used him, he will automatically go back to you. So you don't need to go back through the same maze again, just reach Tails yet again. You can just use him to pick things up. Which means we got this new ability here, the remote bomb. Basically chuck it, and it will either automatically detonate whenever it touches an enemy, or you can press the button at a set time to detonate it, which will break platforms and whatnot. We won't use this too much, but there's a couple of instances where we're going to need it. And you might be wondering, why don't you just use that from now on instead of the normal bomb? Well, the normal bomb is still a lot more useful than the remote bomb. We won't be getting a full-blown replacement for the standard bomb power until basically the end game. So yeah, we're going to be sticking with this basic arc throw bomb because it's just such a useful move. It's so multi-range. You can use it in a variety of situations, and it's not very good at dealing with these bat enemies, but to be fair, nothing is good at dealing with these bat enemies. Anyway, that platform, as you can see, that wall, we can't get through. We will be going through that wall later on. We need to get a grand super bomb in order to break that. So there's a bit of an example of the Metroid-Vania-ness of this game at work. You can't get to certain areas, and without collecting all of the MacGuffins, without collecting all of the collectibles. Which, you know, this game design, I love this game design, but I think it needs to be applied more in 3D. Because I don't like it in 2D. I legit do not like it in 2D. But if it's chucked into a 3D environment, I tend to have a better time with it, you know? As shown by Banjo-Kazooie, which I know Banjo-Kazooie is technically not the same because that's a collectathon platformer, but you know, the same basic idea applies with the Banjo games, for example. You're just going around, you're collecting as much as you can to progress. You know, it's the same basic principle. But, yeah, I digress. Also, be careful of fire. It's so easy to get hit by things and whatnot in this game. And the flight gauge will start getting really high later on, to the point that you won't need to worry about landing and resting. But, as it stands now, whenever you fly, be sure to stop every so often to refill your flight gauge. It automatically refills to full the moment you land, so you can use that to your advantage, I suppose. And every now and then, enemies will drop down rings, which, obviously, collect those when you can, because those will give you extra health, and the extra health will help you survive, because Tails is a survivor, and you know, this takes place before he met Sonic, so we can't grab Sonic, we can't use the spin dash, we can't use the spin jump. This is when Tails can only do this happy, jaunty little walking animation, which looks so happy. I don't know, he looks adorable. I love that walking animation. He's just really got that sort of haters gonna hate sort of walk to him, doesn't he? But, yeah. You know, this game is actually really relaxing, I'll be honest. Like, as much as I don't like Metroid-Vanias, playing through this is just... because of how calm paced it is, and you can basically play this at however speed you want, you know. You can go fast if you want, well, this is technically you going fast, but you can go quickly, you can play through it slowly, and you wouldn't be wrong for it, because it's not a Sonic game. You know, it's a nice relaxing Tails game. And I know in the previous, in the Knuckles Chaotix LP, I said, the spin-offs still consider Sonic game. I don't consider this one a Sonic game because of, well, it doesn't have the Sonic tropes that we're all known and loving, you know, it's not fast-paced or anything. I mean, technically it's a Sonic game because it's a Sonic spin-off title, but, you know. There's not enough in here for me to really consider it Sonic. Like, someone who could play this who's not a Sonic fan, like, I know people who hate Sonic games because they're too fast. They find all the games too fast, even the classic games, which boggles the mind, because the classic games aren't really that fast, in my opinion, but, you know, I could give them this game, and they'd be like, hey, look, I'm moving slow, I'm moving at a good pace. But with that, folks, that is it for this part, so thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed, don't be sheepish, people, and I'll catch you all next time in Poly Mountain Part 1 in Tails Adventure. So thanks for watching, people, see you after, hope you all enjoyed, don't be sheepish. Bye!